Hi guys, Ingenium here. I made some videos saying top 5 or top 10 reasons to work on your car. And I thought, is there a counter to that? And I thought, yeah, there is sometimes reasons that you don't want to work on your car or not to work on your car. So I've made a list of the top 5 reasons of not to work on your car. So the first one that you might not want to work on your car is time consuming. If you've got an unreliable car, it's annoying because you'll always be working on it. Like it'll be in the air all the time and it'll just be the worst. If you're doing a lot of miles, it feels like you're always doing oil changes. And although that's not bad, but it just feels like you're constantly working on the car. And saying that, the more miles you're doing, the more things are more likely to break. Therefore, you'll be working cars more as well. Um, when it's your day off, for example, that's the only time you're usually going to get to fix a car, work on a car. Sometimes you want to relax. You want the time to yourself. You've had a stressful week. You just want to relax, chill. You don't want to be working on a car and getting dirty and all sorts, you know what I mean? So that's one reason that you might not want to work in your car. It is time consuming. The next reason you might not want to work in your car is that some jobs are just the worst. Some jobs are just a massive pain. They're time consuming, they're complicated, there's too many fasteners, and you need specialized tools. Like a combination of them is just usually the worst of jobs. Even if you're doing simple jobs, let's just say you got a broken bolt or a stud, or the part that you got doesn't fit, or it's the wrong model year, or you ordered brake pads, but there was 3 different calipers fitted randomly to that year of car for some reason. It happens, you know what I mean? You got rounded bolts, rusty bolts, just rust everywhere. You're gonna have to use bolt extractors, mole grips. You're gonna have to drill things out. Oh man, it's just the worst. And then to compound that and make it all worse, sometimes you're working in the cold. It's wet outside and it's dark, and this can even make simple jobs hard sometimes. If you work in the summertime, especially here, it's great. It's light. It's warm. You want to work on your car, or people who are living in Texas, California, or countries with nice weather anyway. But if you're in a dark, cold country, it's cold and wet. You're underneath a car and you're dirty, and you're cold and you got a wet back, and then you twist something and the bolt breaks. You feel like crying sometimes. You feel like crying and setting your car on fire. I mean, you wouldn't, but that's what you feel like. So that's another reason sometimes you don't want to work on your car. The third reason you might not want to work on your car is money. Now, I did say that this was a reason to work on your car, and you thought, well, DIYing would save me money, and it will, eventually. It just takes a bit of time for your return on investment, I suppose. Like at first, the first tools you'll normally get is like your ratchet sets and your jack, your trolley jack, and your jack stands, and then from there, you'll get a drain pan for your oil, and then from there you'll get an air compressor, an impact gun, and it just gets more and more specialized from there. You can never have enough tools. You can never have enough tools. You can have all the tools and still want more. Some are helpful tools, like for example breaker bars and caliper rewind tools and clamps and things like that. And some tools that you have, you only need for one specialized job on one certain car, and they're just not all that handy. But you had to buy a whole set just for that one kind of tool, or sometimes it's an expensive set for that one thing. But that's just the way it is with fixing cars. Recently I had to buy a set of 5, or no, there was a set of 6, but there were 5 sided Torx bolts for my Honda, and that was like £10 or something like that. And I only needed a one size, but I had to buy the whole set. It's part of the game, I suppose. And sometimes you want to upgrade your tools as well. You might get a ratchet set, and you might start off with like a Silverline or wherever, and then you might want a Snap-on one after that. You might want a 10 tools one or something like that. You'll always want better tools than that. It is an obsession. It really is. Or you got a Clark impact gun. Next week you want a Snap-on one, or the week after you want a Chicago pneumatic or an Ingersoll Rand or whatever. It'll never be enough. Things like your tool chest, your roller cabinets. I mean, these things can be crazy money. And then you got things like your creeper if you're on your back a lot, inspection lights, clothing, for example, boiler suits or things like that. I mean, you can just wear old scrappy stuff, but if you're working out in the cold and dark and wet, you'll want specialized clothes for working on your car, gloves, all these things, even things like penetrating fluids and greases and lubricants and oils and coolants, and you're going to have a stock of all this stuff. So yeah, it will save you money eventually. You just hope that you haven't spent too much money before you actually start making money back on your servicing of your car. The fourth reason you might not want to work on your car is needing specialized tools. Again, that's needing more tools. But certain cars, especially for diagnostics, they need specialized and proprietary things. So, for example, Mercedes, it'll be read by an OBD2, but if you want a detailed readout, you'll need to get the Mercedes Star system. And that's a lot of money a lot of the time. Or if you've got a BMW, it's the INPA. If you've got a Volkswagen and Audi, it's usually VAGCOM. If you've got a Lexus, it's TechStream. With Porsche, it's Durametric. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Every car manufacturer has its own proprietary diagnostic system that'll tell you stuff that OBD, like your standard OBD2 reader, wouldn't. And it's really annoying, but it is what it is. Just other things like Toyotas need special oil filter cups. Why can't they just use standard ones? No, they have to use their own special ones. Hondas need rewind tools for the calipers. I've never had any car that needed its caliper actually rewinded, so I had to buy a tool just for my Honda to do the rear discs. To do the rear pad, sorry. On other cars, you might need special sockets. You might need a special flexi joint or some sort of spanner to get in somewhere. But yeah, sometimes you need even more specialized tools. And if you sell that car, then you're left with useless tools essentially, and that's really annoying. I wish they'd standardize these things more. But that's another reason you might not want to work on your car. The last reason you might not want to work on your car, and this can sometimes happen, but it's the fear of messing it up and not having a car for whenever. So let's just say it's your day off. You think, I'm going to fix this or I'm going to do this quickly. You start on it and something breaks. Like let's say a bolt, or you got the wrong part, or you don't have the right tool, or just whatever. And the car's stuck in the air on the jack stands, and it's just the worst. It's not drivable. You can't take it to work. You can't take it wherever you want to go. And like I said, it just sits there on jack stands, mocking you, making fun of you, and it's just really annoying having a car that isn't drivable. Especially if you need the car to go to work, to get you shopping, to go to school, whatever. It is just really frustrating. And sometimes you just think, I should just hand the car into the garage and maybe I wouldn't have these problems. But there is a lot of advantages to fixing your own cars. But this is part and parcel of it. If you work on cars, you will obviously experience some negatives, but you hope that the positives just outweigh everything. So that's 5 reasons you might not want to work on your car. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give me a like if you liked it. Please subscribe as well if you enjoyed it and you want to see more car content. Cheers, guys.